Hello out there. We're on the air. Happy Thursday, everybody. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever the heck you're watching this. It is sun's just coming up here now. So we're doing things a little bit different today because I got to leave early. So I figured I had one of two options. One, we could skip the show, or two, we could do it early. So obviously went with option two. So I figured since we were doing it about, I don't know, an hour earlier than usual, I would just throw it on YouTube for shits and gigs. We've kind of straight away. The other thing too is I was actually going to do a video today, but something did come up where I have to leave in about an hour and 15 minutes from now. So I knew I wouldn't have time to make a video and post it on YouTube today. So I figured, you know what? Let's just do the live stream early. We'll talk about what we want to talk about on YouTube. Get two birds stoned at once, as Ricky from the Trailer Park Boys would say. So it is going to be a slightly different show today than we usually have for our daily streams, but not too much different. I see Praetorian's here. Good morning, Praetorian. Big shout out to Praetorian, who sent a nice early fat zap. What time today was that, Praetorian? I'm going to guess like 3:33 a.m. Let's check it. 6 hours ago. Early here. 2:11. Nice number. 2:11 in the morning. Praetorian was up grinding, and he sent a zap of 5,000 units of freedom. So thank you, Praetorian. And big shout out to Bill as well. Bill sent a 6102 attack to Arnie Boy's wallet yesterday after hours. So we have a rare one on YouTube today. I've been doing these shows every Tuesday on YouTube, the 88 lesson series. And we've been getting decent turnouts from YouTube, but we got people watching in other places as well. So yeah, let's not dick around too much because I don't have a whole lot of time today. So let me open up the Nostr stream so we can tell people on Nostr that we're live. But the title of today's show is, does it make sense to go all in on Bitcoin? So I'm going to share my thoughts on that. I'm going to share a couple different thoughts that I've had in and around that in the last couple weeks, and see what you guys think about that. So again, big shout out, just like every day, to everybody who does support the 88 Sats radio channel here, because we don't have any sponsors. We have 0 sponsors. And it is my goal to never have any sponsors. So if you can't support the show financially, the one thing I would ask on Rumble to press the thumbs up, and on YouTube, leave a little comment and just say that you have been learning some stuff from the channel. We get a little bit of hate in the comments once in a while, but more so it's just for the people who are actually interested in Bitcoin, and they have a plethora of options available on YouTube for videos, people to watch. So if you've been enjoying my stuff, that's the one thing that I would ask in a non-financial way to support the show, is just to leave a nice comment. It does actually make a difference. I don't give a shit if you like or subscribe or whatever, but leave a nice comment if you don't mind. Mark, good morning. 65 Sats, good to see you, my friend. We got Cannon here. Cannon early stream, that's right. Good to see you. Bolshoi, Snow Day here. Been a minute, Jordan. Nice to hear you. Nice to see you. Yeah, I don't even know when it was. It was after we did 400 episodes of the Daily Bitcoin Journey here on YouTube. We decided to make a couple changes. But most people stuck around. Most people transferred over to where we are now. And we got a couple zaps over in the zap stream. We got Sats and Sunsets. 54 units of freedom for show number 54. So yeah, we had 400 episodes of the Daily Bitcoin Journey. And then we decided to change gears a little bit. And this is episode now number 54 of Visionaries. I forgot to show off my nice t-shirt today too. Oh, can't see it. Too bad. Should I show? I'll show. Notorious. One of my favorite shirts. Usually wearing hoodies on here, but it's a different kind of day today. So I figured I'd wear a different kind of outfit. Sats and Sunsets, trying to squeeze in yesterday's replay before this morning's, but had to cut it short. Yesterday was a good show. Most shows are good. Bitcoin Boss says, morning man, do you think that buy call? Don't know what that means. Buy call BTC is worthwhile. Might have to clarify that. And Canon zapped 1,000 units of freedom over in Noster. Thank you, Canon. Okay, like I said, we're going to jump right into her, and then we're going to get to today's topic, which is, does it make sense to go all in on Bitcoin? So here we go. Just like we do every day, we're going to start with the mempool, see what's going on there. See what the time in Bitcoin is. And today it is 932,000 o'clock. 932,382 blocks have been mined since January 3rd, 2009. Every 10 minutes on average, a new block is mined. All those blocks are full of transactions. And this is essentially the time in Bitcoin, 932,382. The winner of the last block was F2 Pool. And for their troubles, they earned what? How much did they get for that one? 3.16 Bitcoin worth 305,000. That's the biggest USD block reward I've seen in a long time. Because, of course, the price is up. So if you ever want to figure out what the price of Bitcoin was at any certain block, any certain time in Bitcoin, you can go to mempool. You can divide this USD dollar number divided by the 3.16 Bitcoin, the block reward for the miners. That's their reward. That's their incentives. They don't just want to contribute to the network and secure it and do all they do without any sort of reward or incentive. So that's what they get. They get the block reward. Okay, we got epoch number 5. The block subsidy, as mentioned, is 3.125. The total supply of Bitcoin, we're getting close to 20 million. We're getting really close to 20 million here. It's supposed to happen in like March 2026. We're going to hit 20 million coins mined. Pretty big deal, because that means that there's only 1 million Bitcoin to be mined for the next 120 years. That's nuts. So think about that for a second. The first 20 years of Bitcoin, 20 million Bitcoin mined. And when a Bitcoin's mined, or when it gets added to the circulation. So again, when a miner mines a block, they get paid. Those are the newly generated coins that go to the miner. And so for the first 20 years in Bitcoin, 20 million Bitcoin are mined. And then for the next 120 years, 1 million Bitcoin. That's the dynamic here in Bitcoin. That's what most people haven't caught on to yet, but that's what we here know. And that's why we're so bullish on the coin. As mentioned, F2 Pool was the winner of the last block, and for their trouble, they received the subsidy, which is the fixed amount. Every miner, every block gets the subsidy, which gets cut in half every 4 years. And right now it's 3.125 Bitcoin. So they get the subsidy plus they get the transaction fees, which in this block was 3.4 million sats, or 0.03 of a Bitcoin. So this is the fixed amount. This never changes unless it's a halving. And this is variable. So it changes block by block. Depending on how many people are using the Bitcoin Layer 1 network, the transaction fees fluctuate. And then, of course, that's their total reward, 3.1598 Bitcoin. So that was F2 Pool who won the block of 932,382. And this exchange rate up here, we don't pay too much attention to this because it's complete nonsense. If Bitcoin and gold were, if you saw Bitcoin and gold as valued equal value, this exchange rate would be $1.5 million. But because nobody knows what Bitcoin is yet, it's still kind of going through its infancy stage here. So that's why this number doesn't really mean anything. This number does, though. This is how many sats you can get for $1. So today, if you got $1 kicking around in your pocket, under the couch, in your console of the car, you can get 1,034 Satoshis. So think about that. 1 unit of the fakest money the world has ever seen before. Units they can create out of thin air. Units that we have no idea how many of them exist. You can trade one of those units for 1,000 units of the hardest, scarcest, energy-backed, not even energy-backed, energy-created money that cannot be controlled, cannot be censored, cannot be stopped. That's a pretty good trade. 1 unit of fake for 1,000 units of the hardest money the world has ever seen. Pretty good trade. But let's check out the real price of Bitcoin here, which is Bitcoin to gold. And look at that. We're up again today. 21 ounces of gold to get one Bitcoin. 21 ounces of gold to get one Bitcoin. Oh, look at that. We were over 21 yesterday. Or I guess this morning. Sorry, this is the 1-day chart. So it's kind of like, it looks pretty choppy here, even 1 month, pretty choppy. Year to date, choppy. But if we look at all time here, this is a trend. I don't think, regardless of what chart you look at Bitcoin, I don't see how anybody could ever be bearish on Bitcoin. So this is one of the best charts. This is actually Bitcoin versus gold all time. And again, you can see that today you can purchase one Bitcoin for 21 ounces of gold, which is kind of a joke. This should be about 200 or 2,000 or 20,000 ounces of gold for one Bitcoin. But again, the world just hasn't caught on to that yet. They will. They will, and they are slowly. So we should, sorry, I didn't even tell Nostr that we're live today. And we're early. So that's why I figured I'd put it on the YouTube today, because I didn't know how many people would actually show up here today, just because we are pretty early. But we got Sketchucations here. Early start. Have a good one, all. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Rich. Thanks for being here today. And Stripes is here. Good morning, Stripes. Good to see you. Some might even say, great to see you. Okay, I'm just sharing this on Nostr quickly. I thought we were live. What is that? No. Why isn't it working? We're on Nostr, right? Oh, there it is. Okay. Does it make sense to go all in on Bitcoin? We're live. Early one. So yes, a couple things I want to talk about today. We got the news covered, or the latest at work covered. And I want to talk about some other things. So it's good. I got that out of the way quick. I see some familiar faces here. Sats and Sunsets. What the heck's going on here? It's not a Rumble logo there. Nothing beats the hash rate chart. That's very true. Let's take a look at the hash rate. Just in case there's any people out there who aren't as familiar with Bitcoin as the people who watch the show every day, because this is the kind of stuff we talk about every day here. And God, it looks nice out right now. So you can do this yourself. You can verify this yourself. You go to mempool.space and you click this little pickaxe up here. And then you scroll down to the hash rate. And same kind of thing. If you look at it from 3 months, pretty flat. 6 months, pretty flat, pretty choppy. 1 year. But when you look at the all-time chart here in hash rate, it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear what's happening. It's pretty clear what's going to continue happening. And I'm guessing in like a decade from now, this chart that we see here, even as bullish as it looks, it's going to look like this. It'll look like down here. Because the world's just waking up to this thing. And basically what this measures, very simply, is how much power, how much electricity, how much energy from the real world is securing the Bitcoin network. So every time somebody plugs in a Bitcoin miner into the wall and they're contributing their energy to the network, this number goes up. So this is a very important metric. This is probably the most important metric in Bitcoin, I would say. Because again, we know that the fiat to Bitcoin price or exchange rate is nonsense. I like using gold. It's a little bit more accurate, but even gold doesn't have a fixed supply. Gold and Bitcoin are like comparing, I forget the analogy I used yesterday. Gold and Bitcoin, I would say that comparing Bitcoin and fiat would be like comparing apples to airplanes. And comparing Bitcoin to gold is like comparing apples to elephants. Like they're not comparable. They're two different things. They're much different things. Even though they have similar use cases right now, eventually the world's going to catch on to what's happening here. And when they do, all that capital is going to flow into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's actually going to be the thing that reprices everything. So we're measuring Bitcoin in these prices, but it's going to be Bitcoin that's pricing everything in a decade or two from now. So this is probably the most important, the most relevant chart that you can refer to in Bitcoin. And this is the hash rate, which again is the total amount of energy that's going into the Bitcoin network and securing the Bitcoin network. So thanks for good tip there, Sats and Sunsets. Scotty boy, is this the right place for early streams? It is. It is. Good to see you, Scotty boy. Greg's here. Good morning, Greg. Listening at work. Shout out to everybody listening at work or on the way to work today. Gold is heavy. Yes, gold is too heavy. You can't transport it. Can't go into an airport with it, cross a border with it. It sucks. It's better than fiat, but it sucks. And maybe I'll kind of tie this into what I was thinking about yesterday. Because again, yeah, I'll hit on that for a second. Let's talk about gold for like a minute here. Because I wrote this little poem, or not a poem, but a note in my notepad, my digital notepad yesterday. And I wasn't really sure how to word it, but I think you guys and girls will get the point here. So this is the note that I had written in my Obsidian. Is that what it's called? Obsidian? But the note says, why I choose Bitcoin over gold. Beside the obvious fact that Bitcoin is easier to move, can be easily verified, and has an absolutely fixed supply, I would rather spend my time being hopeful and optimistic and still be wrong than waiting and hoping for society to collapse and be proven right. Why? Because nobody wins in a Mad Max world or an apocalypse, not even precious metal stackers, because no one is going to trade their food for your silver or gold. The only currencies in this doomsday scenario would be food, water, and lead. So me as a Bitcoiner, I'm betting on humanity and I'm betting on a functioning society. And we saw this week that the power went out, the Iranian dollar, the Iranian rial collapsed to zero. And that's kind of what triggered it, because we know that Bitcoin doesn't work in that environment. I mean, it could actually, because we have things being developed now between mesh networks, BitChat on Bluetooth. It probably will evolve into something where you can actually use Bitcoin offline. We don't have it yet, or it's not mainstream yet. So today, if we went into apocalyptic world, Bitcoin wouldn't be any good, but neither would gold. Again, the only currencies in that type of a situation would be food, water, and the third one. So yeah, there's many different aspects that make Bitcoin better than gold, but just the fact that precious metal stackers are basically betting on the world to collapse. I don't want to spend my life hoping that the world collapses so that I can be proven right. I want to bet on humanity. I want to bet on people. I want to bet on a functioning society. And that's why I choose to hold my wealth in Bitcoin. It's really not that complicated. Zebra says, been a busy week, so I've been absent. The old lady and me are going to have a new Bitcoiner. Oh, wow. Eatable Zebra, let's go. Is that the first, second, third, fourth? Hit 105 gigahertz on my BitAxe the other day. 125, sorry. Nice. Cypher, morning, hell of a snowstorm in Toronto today. Shit. Wonder what Josh is doing. Looking forward to some videos from him today. Early bird catches the perm. I think it's the early worm catches the bird. No. Early worm gets the bird. That's the golf equivalent to that. Anyways, let me bring this up. I'm going to talk about does it make sense to go all in on Bitcoin? And so I want a spreadsheet to help me out with this. Where is our Spreadsheet, here we go. Okay, so let's put this nice and big. Before I do that, actually, I want to show you something. This is why you should be, oh, there's Arnie boy. Oh, we caught his butt. This is why you should consider leaving the city if you haven't already. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to tell you what I did and have been very happy with the results. Just kind of like Bitcoin. I'm not going to tell you what to do here. This is not going to be any sort of actual advice. This is just how I'm thinking about it. So here it is. Does it make sense to go all in on Bitcoin? So that's the title of this one today. Oh, I hear Arnie somewhere there. Where is he? Anyways, maybe he'll show up today, maybe not. But I kind of want to break this into 3 categories, and I got into a bit of trouble a while ago because I left out the Gen X. So I'm definitely not going to do that today. I'm not going to make that mistake twice. But I'm going to break this into 3 different age groups because I think that's important too. It's not going to be a blanket answer for everybody here. It's going to be something like depending on what your age is. And there's other factors too. Don't get me wrong. Like age is probably the biggest. Your level of income is also a pretty big consideration here, like how much money you have coming in every month. And then what kind of lifestyle you have. How do you spend your money? Do you need a lot? Do you have a lot? Do you have a lot of obligations? Or are you somebody who lives more of a simple life? So those are all 3 factors, but I would say that the age is the one that we're going to focus on today. And so that's kind of the thesis here for the most part, is that if you're younger, let's say you're 50 and below, what you have on your side is capital. What you have is capital. And what you don't have, and again, I kind of said this in a video the other day and I felt bad about it after, because it's not like if you're above 50 and below, what you have is, you have time here. What you don't have is capital, 50 and below, and then 50 and above. So it's the flip side. And again, I'm not trying to say that like if you're over 50, like you don't have any time. I think that the way things are progressing in technology, you probably have quite a while yet. But what I mean by this is that you don't have as much time for Bitcoin to compound. So when you're younger, this is what you have on your side. You have time on your side. But unfortunately, because you're not that valuable yet for the most part. I mean, there's a lot of 50 and below people who are very valuable, but for the most part, on average, you haven't put in the time. You haven't added enough value to society where you have a large pool of capital that you're sitting on. That's just reality. Some do. I'm not talking in absolutes here. And just like on the flip side, there's a lot of people who are above 50 who actually don't have a lot of capital. So this isn't absolutes. This is just kind of the average, right? So this is kind of the thesis here that we're going off of. And again, before anybody who's over 50 says, Jor, what the hell are you talking about? I have a lot of years. I agree. I do agree. But you don't have as much time as somebody who's 20 years old for the Bitcoin to compound. So I'm going to split this into 3 categories here. And I don't really want to use like the names for them because some of them, it just doesn't really work out that way. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to use age 0 to 30, age 31 to 60, and then age 61 to whatever, 90. However long you want to live. So that's what we're going to do here. Does it make sense to go all in on Bitcoin? And kind of before we go any further here, I just want to make this point because this is something I've been thinking a lot about when I'm talking to people, when I'm sharing content related to Bitcoin and trying to help people understand what this asset is. One thing that keeps coming up to me is like people are just looking at Bitcoin the wrong way. And I don't know why that is. But people know that it's a store of value. People know that it's a long-term savings account, but yet they're looking at the charts every hour of the day. And it just doesn't make sense to me. And I'm trying to wrap my head around this myself. And I think the reason for that is because let's say that you're like 20 years old. Let's just use an example here. You're 20 years old, or any age, actually, any age. And you have a nice piece of property that you're scoping out, a piece of land. And the reason why you're buying this land, this is before Bitcoin or before you understood Bitcoin. You're like, okay, well, I'm going to buy a section of land here because I got some extra capital kicking around. I don't want to put it in the stock market. I want something very long term. And so you buy a piece of land, section of land, and you buy it as a long-term savings account. That's essentially what it is. You're taking the money that you have, you're putting into this piece of land, and you're saying, okay, I'm going to sit on this for a very long time. And if you did that, it's not like you'd be looking at the price of your land every hour of every day. Right? You just wouldn't. But Bitcoin's the same thing. It's the exact same way to think about it. Except people look at the value of it every single day, even though they know they're going to be holding this asset for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. They're still looking at the price of Bitcoin every hour of every day. And so people are just looking at Bitcoin the wrong way. Again, even though they know that, even though that's why they got into Bitcoin, is because they want a long-term savings account. And they know that. But they're still treating it like a penny stock that they're going to trade if it goes up and down. So what I would say to people like that is, instead of taking all that time and energy and looking at the prices and the charts and the trends and the projections and predictions, all that shit, take that time and energy and actually learn how to protect the sats that you have. Build a fortress around that piece of property that you have. That's how you should be allocating your time. And that's what you should be focused on, is like, okay, if this is actually a 20, 30, 40 year hold here, I have to make sure that in 20, 30, 40 years from now, I actually have these sats. And I just think that there's so many people out there who are sleeping on that fact. They have no security. They haven't thought about anything, and they have no inheritance plan to go along with their Bitcoin. It just doesn't make any sense. But because this is such a new asset, it's so misunderstood in a lot of ways. Even people who are in Bitcoin, I think, are missing that fact. So let's start with age 30, age 0 to 30 here. This is kind of like I don't even know if millennials would still be in this. This is kind of Gen Z, Gen X. No, not Gen X. This would be Gen Z and whatever the hell the newest one is. So let's start with them. Does it make sense to go all in Bitcoin? I would say yes. Simple. Again, this isn't advice. This is just me telling you what I would do if I was any of these age groups. So 0 to 30, why yes? Well, number one, because again, going back to this, you have a lot of time. So you actually don't even need that many sats. You don't need that much Bitcoin for this to pay off for you. And again, think about Bitcoin like a long-term savings account. It's not like you have an extra $100 that you want to spend on a new Nintendo game in a month from now and you put that into Bitcoin hoping it goes up. No, that's not how you should be treating this. You should take a portion of whatever you have and whatever you're earning and just allocate that to Bitcoin every single week or every single day, however you want to do it. And again, because you have so much time on your side here, you don't need that much. And the reason I'm saying to go all in on Bitcoin when you're 0 to 30 is because even if it fails, what are the other options? If Bitcoin fails, then everything else has failed. If Bitcoin fails, I think humanity has failed. That's just my opinion on it. And again, I don't expect you to share the same sentiment as me or understand where I'm coming from here, but this is just my opinion on it. So even if it fails, what are your other options? Like, what else would you be holding right now if you're 0 to 30? There's nothing, because everything else is tied to that fiat system that is collapsing right in front of our eyes right now. And so the only hope that I see for this age group is Bitcoin. The only hope, the only way that you're ever going to afford a house, the only way you're ever going to be able to start a family, the only hope you have at this stage is Bitcoin. That's it. There's nothing else. And you can start doing some projections yourself. You can go to a website called where is this? I think it's called Reverse Kaggle. It's kaggercalculator.net. Here, let's look at this. So let's use this because I think, again, the one thing that Gen Z or people 0 to 30 have on their side is time. And so when you look at this, what did I do there? When you look at this, again, you have time, but you don't have a whole lot of money. So let's say that you even had $1,000 right now, and you're looking at this thing from a long-term perspective. Let's use something. Sailor likes using 21. I think that's extremely low. I would say that Bitcoin's probably going to be closer to 50 to 100 Kaggle over the next decade or two. And who knows beyond that. So let's just use 35 to keep it really simple. And let's say that you're 20 years old right now, and maybe you want to not have to work anymore when you're 50 years old. So that'll be what, 30 years. So you can do this. You can play around with these numbers yourself. And this is a very good idea to do because then you can actually, it seems more real that way. It's easy to just say, yeah, I'm going to buy $5 a week for the next 10 years and take whatever savings I have now, whether it's $1,000 or $5,000 or 500, whatever. It's easy to say it's probably going to be worth a lot in the future, but you can actually look at this objectively with math. And I think it makes it more real that way. So you can see here that it doesn't look like much. After a couple of years, you got a $2,000. After 10 years, you got $20,000. But then you start going out further, and this is what I'm talking about when I'm comparing the younger crowd to the older crowd is the power of compounding and the power of time. So 30 years from now, that $1,000 that you have compounding at 35% per year is going to have $8.1 million worth of purchasing power. This isn't $8 million USD. This isn't a scenario where a loaf of bread costs you $5,000. This is $8.1 million worth of purchasing power today in 30 years. And so even at that point, you're not going to have to sell this. You're not going to have to sell any of your Bitcoin. You can probably lend against it. And 31, 32, 33, 34, this number is going to keep going up. It's going to go up faster than you can spend it. And I just wish that somehow every single Gen Z, anybody who's under the age of 30 right now could see this. Because this is your only hope in the future. It's your only hope. There is no other option. So that's what Gen Z has on their side is time. They have compounding. So again, that was $1,000 at age 20. You put into Bitcoin, you hold on to that for 30 years at a very conservative compound annual growth rate of 35%. You got $8 million, $8 million worth of purchasing power. You're done. You don't have to work anymore. You don't retire because that's kind of your peak when you're 50 years old. That's when you're the smartest. You have, you're adding the most value to the world. You don't retire, but you don't have to work. You can do shit you want to do. And it might even come a lot sooner than that too. So age 31 to 60. This would be millennials / Gen Z for the most part. Does it make sense for that group to go on and all in on Bitcoin? I would also say yes. And when I say all in on Bitcoin, that might mean different things to people. But from my perspective here, I just don't see any other asset or investment or anything that is going to come close to Bitcoin for these next 30 years. So it's like a stock, a tech stock, an AI stock, whatever it is. It might go up quicker for a year or a couple months. But what you have to understand about Bitcoin is this. And this is what sets Bitcoin apart from literally everything else. And that is the fact that no matter how many people want to hold it, we cannot create more of it. And that's how it is today. That's how it's going to be in 10 years from now, 20 years, forever. That's the reality of Bitcoin. That's the difficulty adjustment. That's absolutely scarce supply. And again, kind of what we started the show with today is like in a month or two from now, 20 million Bitcoin will have been mined, which means that there for the next 120 years, there's only 1 million Bitcoin left to be mined. And every single day here, more and more people are showing up in these chats. More and more people are starting to understand what this asset is. And more people are deciding to store their time and value in Bitcoin. And so the more people that understand Bitcoin, which I call the green light theory, when your green light turns on and you understand what's going on here, the more people that understand Bitcoin, the more people are fighting over those scarce units that we call Satoshis. And because Bitcoin's absolutely fixed supply, as this number goes up, there's more and more people fighting over that same scarce amount of units. And we cannot create more of them. Bitcoin is stuck in the future. That next 1 million Bitcoin that's going to be mined over the next 120 years, that's stuck in the future. You cannot shortcut that. No matter how much technology improves, no matter how much demand, how many people want it, no matter how much capital you already have and how smart you are, you cannot shortcut Bitcoin. That Bitcoin is stuck in time. And so the answer to this is yes. And what I'll say with that is like probably if you're age 31 to 60, you probably have quite a bit of wealth already in the existing system, whether that's like a pension at work or whatever it is. And maybe you can allocate some of that to other things like a strategy or like a stretch or something that's going to, give you dividends maybe. But you should not put $1. Then this kind of the key here. And that's what I'm saying all in. It's not like you have to sell all your investments, sell all your pensions, cash out and buy Bitcoin. I'm saying every new dollar goes into Bitcoin. You're not giving any more energy. You're not giving any more money to that old system. So every new dollar you get goes into Bitcoin because it's the same kind of thing here. Even if Bitcoin fails, everybody's going to be in the same position as you. And that's what makes Bitcoin so unique and such an asymmetric trade right now is because the upside to Bitcoin, let me put that here. The upside in Bitcoin is truly unlimited. There's no limit on how this can go because of these reasons, because it's stuck in time, because of the difficulty adjustment, because there's an absolute fixed supply of it, which we've never had in the world before. The upside in Bitcoin is truly unlimited. The downside, the risk in Bitcoin is almost nil. Because again, what else are you going to put it in? If Bitcoin fails, that means that everything else has failed. And maybe some stocks, maybe some companies, or maybe gold, whatever it is, maybe the value of it's up, but the world's toast. Because the road that we're on right now in the fiat system, it's a collapse. And going back to like the sentiment of a Bitcoiner versus a precious metal stacker, I'd rather bet on optimism. And in a world where Bitcoin fails, everything fails. Because without Bitcoin right now, we would be totally screwed. Totally screwed. We have a dead internet. We have unlimited source of money, and the money printers plugged in like never before. They're creating all these units of fiat without any sort of proof of work, any sort of energy required to do it. And there's no way out of that system. The only way that system ends is in collapse. We cannot function as a society here for another 10 or 20 years in this system. So if Bitcoin fails, everything fails. And then you're basically back at square one with everybody else. That's why I say the upside here is truly unlimited. And the downside in Bitcoin is pretty much nothing. Because the worst case here is that you have the exact same as everybody else. You're not going to get, I'm not going to go there, but that's the reality of things here. So I'd say yes for the millennials and the Gen Xers out there. I would say yes. Every new dollar goes into Bitcoin. And so Gen Z and millennials are kind of in between here because we have some time and some capital, but we don't have as much time as the Gen Z, and we don't have as much capital as the baby boomers. So we have to work harder. We're in the prime years of our earning right now. And so every new dollar goes into Bitcoin. What about age 61? What about age 61? Well, the very simple answer to this is no. And keep in mind, when I'm talking about this, I should put a little asterisk here because this is important. I don't want people to miss this. This is something that I messed up for a few years now. I've been in Bitcoin for almost 6 years now. And this is the mistake that I made, which was I didn't have any cash. And so what all these should be kind of supplement all of these, regardless of the age group, regardless of age, supplement all of these with some cash for, I don't know, 2 to 3 months worth of expenses. So when I'm saying all in on Bitcoin, I'm saying you're not buying Apple stocks. You're not buying gold. You're not buying a new Airbnb. You're not buying a government bond. You have some cash, and every dollar that you would otherwise invest or put into like a long-term savings, that's what you put into Bitcoin instead. So for age 61, obviously you're going to have some cash because you don't have as much cash coming in probably. And again, somebody who's 60 is different than somebody 70. This is just kind of grouping people together here. So this isn't absolutes, but you probably have a little bit of cash. You probably have a GIC. Most baby boomers have a GIC in the bank account with some cash, some free cash flow, which is what you need. So I would say you should be focused on kind of a medium term solution. You have your cash, and then a portion of it in Bitcoin. And I think that baby boomers should have at least one Bitcoin. I kind of started this with age 0 to 30 saying, if you have $1,000 worth of Bitcoin today, which is about 1 million sats, you hold on to that for 30 years, you're good. Because again, you got time on your side. If you're age 31 to 60, I'd say do your best to get to one Bitcoin, but it's not a make or break. But I would say if you are age 61 or above, you should have one Bitcoin. And if that does mean selling a piece of property you have, if that means cashing out part of your pension, if that means selling some of your stocks in your portfolio, I know it's going to be a hard conversation because most baby boomers have a financial advisor. And so they have to go through a few more steps. But you should have at least one Bitcoin. And that Bitcoin's probably not going to be for you. Part of it might be. You might spend some, but you're probably not going to want to. Because you're going to see it like me where the real value of Bitcoin is at least $1.5 million today. I'd say it's closer to 10. Just based on the fact that 1-to-1 gold, if you see Bitcoin and gold is the same, the price of Bitcoin should be $1.5 million today. I think that Bitcoin is infinitely better than gold in a lot of ways. So you might say, well, I'm not going to sell this because it's not worth selling. I'd rather sell my General Electric stocks, or I'd rather just use some of my cash or take a line of credit against my house and use that as cash. So this Bitcoin probably isn't going to be for you. Not that you can't use it. It's just that you're not going to want to use it. So this is for your family. This is for your family. Essentially, this is for the generations. This is like a farmer who's working on the farm. He's accrued all this land through the years, and he wants to pass that down to his kids. He's not going to sell the land and live off that. He's going to pass that down to his kids. So have at least one Bitcoin. I think that would be the perfect legacy to leave your kids. And so what you should be doing now, instead of once you allocate that position to get one Bitcoin at least, that's when you should take your time and figure out how to secure that properly, how to make sure that your kids will actually get access to that, set up a proper inheritance plan. Maybe you set up a trust. You get a little bit more time. These folks right here, age 0 to 60, pretty busy. You got some time. You can sink some time into learning how to secure that properly with a multi-sig, with encryption, with geographically dispersing it, and creating a rock solid inheritance plan to make sure that that Bitcoin, the value that you added to the world, what you want to leave behind, you want to make sure that that is able to flow without friction to your kids and their kids and their kids. So that's it. Pretty simple. It really is. You don't have to overthink this stuff. And the nice thing about when you're in Bitcoin, that's the other thing that I wanted to say here, because again, whether you are, regardless of age here again, regardless of age, you need to focus on security and inheritance. And so the nice thing about this is like, as you slowly take your time and your energy and your capital out of the old system and you move it to Bitcoin, the nice thing is you're not paying fees. You're not paying trading fees. You're not paying management fees. You're not paying any of these fees. You're just taking your Bitcoin. You're taking self-custody of it. And that's it. There's no fees. There's no leaks in that battery. So here's what I would say. Your security budget, because again, you don't have management fees. You're not paying anybody anything. Your security budget should be approximately 5% of your stack to make sure that you have it. Because again, it really doesn't matter how much Bitcoin you have today. It doesn't matter how much Bitcoin you have today. The only thing that matters is how much you're going to have in 50 years from now, or how much your family is going to have in 50 years from now. So you need to protect that. It's on you. You're lucky enough to be here, but that comes with a lot of responsibility. So let's use an example here. Let's say that your Bitcoin is worth, you got one Bitcoin. You're a baby boomer. Your Bitcoin is worth 100K. You got one Bitcoin. So you should invest $5,000 worth to secure it. It's really not that complicated. And if you're somebody who's like 30 and your Bitcoin is worth 50K, you should invest 2.5K to secure it. And that could be like getting a couple cold cards. That could be paying somebody to help you set up a multi-sig. That could be paying for the Bitcoin school membership to help you set up a multi-sig. And then if your Bitcoin is worth 10K, you should invest, what is that, $500? It's fun doing math on live streams. You should invest $500 to secure it. So what would that be? That would just be getting a cold card. Get a cold card. Learn how to protect your private key. So a cold card's about $200. Get a year membership to Bitcoin School. Learn how to store your private keys. That's how you should be thinking about that. And you kind of run into like you'll eventually run to a point where this is 5%. And the nice thing about this is I'm kind of comparing it to management fees here. But the nice thing about this is once you invest this, you don't have to do it again. This isn't going to be an annual recurring thing for you. You're not going to have to pay $5,000 a year to secure it. You get it set up. You get the inheritance done. You get everything all ready to go. You get your family involved. That's it. That's why Bitcoin's the perfect battery, because it doesn't have an annual fee. It doesn't have property tax. It doesn't have insurance. It doesn't have any of this stuff. You just got to make this investment right off the top, and you'll never have to worry about it again. So that's what I would say on that. And if you do need any help, again, I do one-on-one calls. I did 3 of them yesterday, helping people with their cold cards and with their private keys. I do one-on-one calls. We have Bitcoin Citadel, where you can get multi-sig. You can get your backups encrypted. You can learn from the best. And these prices are probably going to go up because they're way too low in comparison to the market. We have bitcoincitadel.net, and you can join our Bitcoin School, where I do a 15 or 20-minute video every single day talking about different topics in Bitcoin. And it's mostly focused around the mindset, security, managing your Bitcoin in terms of your privacy, in terms of your UTXOs, every single day. If you can commit 10 or 15 minutes to watching a video, then I would suggest joining Bitcoin School. And that is very easy to find, school.com/88 sats. So that's my promise to you. I'm going to put out a video every single day. And we're already on day, what? What day are we on? 15 today. So you can, we already got the proof of work. I actually did a full, I always forget to mention this too. I got a couple things I want to mention here because I don't talk about this stuff enough. But there's a 365 days of Bitcoin. This is, I did, oh, look at that guy. No hat on. But I did a video every single day in 2025, every single day. So there's 365 videos in here talking about different topics. So this was the 365 days of Bitcoin from 2025. And then the 2026 version of this is Bitcoin School. So again, if you're serious about this stuff, there's a lot of info in here. If you can commit 10 or 15 minutes a day, this literally could be the difference between your family having your Bitcoin in 50 years and not. Because with this course, there's not going to be any gaps. This is meant to fill the gaps because, yeah, you can watch online tutorials. You can get help from AI. But this is from somebody who's been through it before, who has learned the lessons. And so the purpose of this course is to make sure that you don't have any gaps or holes in your security setup. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is actually put up a free course for people. I put out a free course. And so I would encourage you too, if you're somebody who's somewhat new to Bitcoin, and when I say that, I mean like less than 2 years in Bitcoin, you're probably going to benefit from watching this. And again, it's free. I wanted to make this for free for people because that's, at the end of the day, that's why I'm doing this whole thing, is to get more average people into Bitcoin. So it's called, I'm going to change it. It's going to be the 11-day Bitcoin journey course. So I'll throw this in the chat right now, and you can go check that out for free. I'm kind of in the process of still updating the last 5 videos here, but it'll probably be done in the next week or 2. So these are all the videos that you get for free. You get the roadmap, you get options, buying, how much do you need, Bitcoin versus Lightning, setting up a Lightning wallet, earning Bitcoin, and there's going to be 4 more videos posted in the next week, I would say. So that's totally free for anybody who wants to watch it. It's kind of an 11-day crash course for anybody who's someone new to Bitcoin. And if you're watching this recorded or the replay version of this, I will put that link for you right at the top, the free course. So that's my gift to you. That is my gift to you. And I apologize, Zapstream. Holy man, there's lots going on over there. Okay, so wow, I did pretty good here, keeping things on time. Like I said, I got to run into the city in about 15 minutes from now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some comments here in Noster, and then we're going to do our daily buy. Because I know it's a little bit different show today, but that doesn't mean that we can skip our daily buy here. So where is that frickin' spreadsheet? Open. Master. Where are you? There we go. Okay. So you want to do that right now, Scotty boy? What are we at? How are we looking? Are we up or are we down? I'll maybe explain that to people here while we get that figured out. So kind of the idea here, this is something I do on the show, or we do, I shouldn't say I do. We do it every day on the daily stream. And I'm going to put a link to the daily stream. I'm very conscious of what I say on here nowadays because we know who's listening. But I do a daily stream at 10 a.m. Eastern every single day, Monday to Friday. And so I'll put a link to that in the show notes if you do want to start showing up here every day, because this is the kind of stuff you're going to be doing. This is very small actions done very consistently add up to something very large. So every day we do a little bit of a smash buy. And we kind of base it on what the price is. Okay, so Scotty says even. Thank you, Scotty. Which means when we're even, we buy $8 worth of Bitcoin. When the price is up, we buy $5 worth of Bitcoin. And when it's down, we buy more. And when it's crashing, we buy way more. So that's kind of the idea with this. This is something we do every single day here on the show. We call it the daily smash average. So it's kind of like an intelligent way to buy Bitcoin. And again, kind of keeping up with the theme here, which is very small actions done very consistently add up to something very large. So after a year or two of this, man, we're going to be laughing. And the reason why we're doing this as a community here is because every sat that we have, that I have, that Scotty has, that Praetorian has, that Buck 52 has, these are all sats that they don't have. They'll never get. And that's such a crazy foreign concept. But every sat that I have is a sat that Larry Fink will not get. And so this is about doing it for the average person here. That's why I do the show every day. And the key here is if you're thinking like, well, I don't have enough money to buy Bitcoin every day. It doesn't matter how much you buy. You could buy 50 cents worth of Bitcoin every day. 50 cents. It does not matter how much you buy. The only thing that matters is that you buy. And so our thesis here, and why this makes so much sense to me, is that eventually one sat will have the purchasing power of $1. Not a matter of if that happens or not, but when that happens. And so basically what you're doing then is you're trading $5 today for $3,600 in the future. That seems like a pretty good trade to me. I would even call it the deal of a lifetime or an absolute no-brainer. Okay, so we're going to buy $8 right now, Scotty boy, and we'll see what we get for that. And so I use ShakePay for this. If I was doing this in Canada, which I am, I would use ShakePay. If I was doing this in the US, I would use River. And the cool thing about it is you can load it up every week. You can put like 20 bucks worth or $50 or $500 worth. And then it kind of just sits there in your account. River, you actually earn interest on that amount. ShakePay, I think you do, but not as much. But then every day you show up and you buy a little bit of Bitcoin. So today I'm trading $8 of fake, 8 units of fake, and I'm getting 5,896 units of real. So I traded $8 today for $5,896 in the future worth of purchasing power. $5,896. So there you go. That's the DSA today. And if you did buy some Bitcoin today, like Sats and Sunsets here, put it in the chat and let us know how many dollars you spent and how many Sats you received in exchange for that. And I will share a couple links here for anybody who's watching that isn't here every day. Like I said, I use ShakePay to do this in Canada because you can pre-fund it, you can preload it with some dollars, and then you can just do this with us every day here. And then if you're in the US, I would suggest using River for this. And River's nice because you can get, again, you get paid on your interest. So if you got like 500 bucks sitting in there that you want to just leave to do this every day with us, River's actually going to pay you like 3% interest in Bitcoin on that amount. And Scotty says, take that, BlackRock. Exactly. Take that. Okay, so look at this. Wow. Look at that. I buy Bitcoin. Spent, that's got to be Canadian, or is it? I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's Canadian or US. That conversion doesn't really make sense to me. $1,000 for 827,000 sats. I don't know what that would be. What Canadian, really? That seems like a lot of sats for that amount. Huh. Anyways, Camille's on a 3-day shake streak. Nice. I'm on an 89 day. I hit 88 yesterday. Who else is buying here today? Mark got 36,852 sats for 25 units of nothing Canadian. Scotty Boy got 100,000 freedom units in exchange for 15,300 yen. Rich spent 25 euros and got 28,000 sats. Sats and Sunset spent 1074. That's a random number, but he got 11,187 sats. And Praetorian, he spent $47 and got 48,297 units of freedom. Hey, look who showed up. A rare sighting. I guess Arnie only likes YouTube. Arnie's a YouTube dog. They are? I guess he is. Okay, let me check on Noster here. Because I saw some Zapparoos coming in. Wow, what the hell's this? Okay, wow. Scotty said, Joe, are off to swap some silver. Hey, I am. I'm actually going into the city right now, and part of my trip is to stack some silver. But I want to show this. Noster's been absolutely buzzing here. This is we got 20 people over there right now. We got a ton of zaps. So I want to give a couple shout outs here. Scotty with a lot of 99s in there, a lot of comments too. Sorry, Scotty. Unfortunately, I don't have time to go through them all today. Bad Gal B's there. Letha zapped 5,000 units of freedom. FUs. Thank you, Letha. And what's this here? Oh, that one disappeared on me. Hold on. What happened? Something happened here. Okay, I gotta reset this because there was a big zap that I saw, but it disappeared now on me. Okay, so I'll try going on sats.gg and see if I can see it there. No, they all disappeared on me. What the hell? Because there was a really nice comment there, and I don't know where it went now. Well, that's shitty. I shouldn't have hit refresh. I think I was trying to see an NPub in there that somebody had, but it disappeared on me. So let me see if I can find it here. I might have to look on Amethyst, and I wanted to zoom in on it because it looked like a really nice comment. Oh, frick. Damn. Well, that's shitty. That was the biggest zap we've got on the show for a while, and it disappeared on me. See if I can see the comment in here. Damn it. Yeah, it's here. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. I got the comment here. Let me read this to you. I don't know who it's from, but I just want to give a couple of shout outs here. Letha, one of the biggest supporters of the channel here, with 5,000. Moravian, also another very, very generous supporter here of the channel with 5,000. And then a bunch of 99s from Scotty and Letha. And this big one here, this is a big one again, probably the biggest one we've had in a while here on the show. Okay, so this is what the comment says. It says, Jor, I just want to say thank you. I've been a mostly silent watcher for a long time, tuning in when I could, listening back when I couldn't, and your thinking around Bitcoin sovereignty and tuning out the noise has genuinely shaped how I see the world. More than that, you helped me believe I could do my own thing. I left a corporate role recently and have just launched a writing project called Orientation. Less about having answers, more about staying clear-headed while the ground is shifting. I haven't been an active voice in the community until now, but I've taken a lot of it. I've taken a lot from it and wanted to acknowledge that properly. I really appreciate what you built here and the people you brought together. Damn, make me freaking cry here, man, or woman. But that's it. Sorry, I didn't even look at that. I was freaking blurry that whole time, probably. So that was really nice. I don't know who that was from, but you made my day. You made my week with that. So not just the financial support there, but that was the comment there. That's the kind of shit that I love. So yeah, Nostr kind of stopped working for me here, but I got to hit the road. I got stuff to do. I got people to see. I got silver to sell. Oh, Camille, what happened here? He said it's a dumb looking sticker, but we have limited options. Thank you, Camille. So yeah, I'm gonna hit the road here because I gotta go. I'm kind of over time already, but I want to say a big thanks to Scotty, to Letha, to Moravian, to everybody who's zapping. I see Mark in there, Bad Gal B, Plural, Canadian Hodler. That was 500 sats from Canadian Hodler. Thank you. And the big one today, I don't know who that was from. Oh, Sats Oil's in there too. Canon. I can't see who that was from now, but I'll figure it out. But anyways, thanks very much for that one. That was a big zap. Very, very meaningful to me, and the message along with it as well. So yeah, that's the show today. Again, we got the free course just in case there is anybody out there who's somewhat newer to Bitcoin. Like I said, less than probably 2 years into Bitcoin. There's a lot of stuff to know. There's a lot of stuff to know. And I would encourage you, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but again, if you're taking this stuff seriously, I would consider joining our Bitcoin school. I'll have a link for that in the show notes as well. It's very cheap. It's too cheap almost. And it probably doesn't truly reflect how much value you're going to get from being in that community. Not just the daily videos and the courses that I have in there, but just being surrounded by people who are like you and who want you to succeed and who are moving in the same direction as you. It's truly invaluable. And so that's what I would encourage you to do. Make an investment. It's not an expense. It's not like a Netflix subscription. This is an investment in your future and your family, and making sure that whatever you have today, you transport that into the future for them. So there it is right there, school.com/88 sats. We'd love to have you there, and also have the free course just in case you don't want to do that. And I'll share the link, all these links in the show notes for anybody who's catching the replay of this. But that's it, Moravian, with one more zap to hit the road today. And I forgot to mention Praetorian too. He sent a 2 a.m. zap today. If that was anybody else, I'd think he was drunk zapping. But Praetorian's just a hardworking dude. Scotty says, check my Nostr for the messenger. What does that mean? The messenger. Oh, look at this. Okay, so here is shit. The NPub. I'll figure that out. But thank you, Sats and Sunsets. I don't know who that was. I'll find it though. Thanks everybody. Thanks for showing up today. Again, I do shows on Rumble and Nostr every single day at 10 a.m. Eastern time. I'll have links below for that if you want to join us here every day. And I do the 88 lessons on Tuesday on the show here on YouTube. And we're going to be on lesson number 13 this week. And it's going to be at 10 a.m. as well on Tuesday. So Tuesdays on YouTube, every other days elsewhere. And once in a while, special occasions like today, we come on to YouTube. So huge shout out to Nostr. Huge shout out to Orientation for that nice zap and nice, very nice comment. So thanks everybody. Hope you enjoyed this one today, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Most of you anyways.